Hey, what's going on, my nerds and collectors alike? We are taking a look at a member of the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness wave here today. Starting off with Doctor Strange himself, as it seemed a good place to start. Taking a look here at the previous Sorcerer Supreme, because, you know, now we know it's Wong. We'll see how that dynamic works out in the new movie. But looking at Doctor Strange's new costume in here, looks pretty cool. We got a nice red outline on the design on there. Looks like we're getting a couple of different magic hands for him finally, as opposed to the same hands that we always get with him. Once again, we were getting those magic effect hands, which is always a welcome addition, as that's pretty standard for Doctor Strange, and those new hands are definitely looking pretty good. Here we have the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness logo there, looking nice and ominous. Down there it says Doctor Strange. On the side of the packaging, on the bottom here, you actually get a nice, like, cyan color. Not sure what that's about. Probably the different multiverse stuff. But we get a nice image of Stephen Strange here, casting one of his defense spells. On the other side of the package, we get that same image reversed. On the top here, we do get the Sanctum Sanctorum emblem, and it's got a little bit of embossing on there. On the bottom, your standard barcodes, warnings, legalese, all the fun stuff. Getting to the back here. Here are the figures that you will need to complete the Rentraw Build-A-Figure wave. Eventually, I would like to get all of these figures. Whether I will or not, I do not know. I know I am still looking for Wong, America Chavez, and at least Master Mordo. The other three here being Doctor Strange in his astral form, and then Despair and Sleepwalker. Those definitely look interesting too, but I would still like to just get these three at least. Funds are tight. We will see what happens. On the back of the packaging, we have that larger image of Stephen here, and we have his bio that says Doctor Strange. Dr. Stephen Strange is Earth's mightiest sorcerer, battle-hardened and reckoning with his lonely place in the multiverse after the events of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And Spider-Man No Way Home, if you've seen that movie. But let's go ahead and crack open Doctor Strange and see what the ex-Sorcerer Supreme brings to the table. Alright, so here we have Doctor Strange out of his packaging and displayed without his accessories this time, just because there's a couple things I want to go over. Now, do keep in mind I might sound a little bit aggravated with this figure, just because there's some changes that they've done with this version of the Doctor Strange character that feel kind of like a backstep from the previous version that we got, which doesn't make any sense. There are some good things with this new figure, but there's also some kind of irritating things with this new figure. So, let's go ahead and get into details first, and one detail that I do want to share because I personally find it very cool, getting the figure here. This time around, we are starting to see scars sculpted in the hands. Let's see if I can... Yeah, on this side it's a little bit better. You can see his scars are finally being sculpted into his hands here. And on his alternate pair of hands here, you can definitely see the scars go even all the way up the fingers. So that's very cool to see. Nice little detail there, and that kind of makes those hands his own. We do get a new Benedict Cumberbatch head sculpt. I think this is a slightly different hairstyle and a different sculpted version of the face. Don't quote me on that. This could just be reuse, but I believe that this is actually a new sculpt. Something that's kind of annoying here, we do have the Eye of Agamotto sewn into his clothing there, but they just left it a bronze-ish, unpainted, unfinished plastic. So that looks pretty jarring in the middle of the more nicely done and styled up paint of the rest of the figure. I mean, look, we even have variations of the blue for the different portions of the costume, and then we have it pinstriped in the nice red, even doing the cross fold where he folds over his robe. And you get red and silver picked out on his belt all over the place. You've got his sling ring picked out. You get blue within the wraps here on his arms. No paint on the back, of course, because it's Marvel Legends and Hasbro is lazy when it comes to backs, but that's something for a different day. You got the gray in his hair, Nice face printing. I do have a tiny imperfection on my cheek, but I was at Target this morning. There was about 5 or 6 of these guys on the pegs, and this guy was the one with the least jacked up face. So this is the one that I purchased. Definitely, if you go to your local stores and you've got multiples on the pegs, always check your figures for different paint apps. Also check and see if there's breakages inside the packaging. I know a couple of times I've received packages or purchased figures in stores where pieces were broken and floating in the package and I didn't see it. So always be very careful. But yeah, we've got nice sculpt all the way around the figure, but for some reason we also have some hiccups here. Now I will go ahead and say Hasbro needs to figure out what they're doing with skirt pieces like this, because it always traffic cones figures' legs, and the reason why we're buying highly articulated action figures is so we can get poses out of them. And if you hinder our posing ability with these, it kind of kills a lot of the fun. I mean, yeah, most of the time he floats around, you're not gonna see Stephen Strange doing judo or taekwondo or martial arts kicks on screen where he's sidekicking, you know, a demon in the face or something. Although in Multiverse of Madness we know there's variants of Stephen Strange, there's Defender Strange, so who knows, maybe we will see him doing some martial arts against some demons in the multiverse. You never know. But when you have an action figure of him, it'd be nice if you could do it even if you wanted to. He doesn't have to do it on screen if you want him to be able to do it, you know? So, getting a little annoyed with figures getting traffic coned by skirts and things like that. I wish there was a way we can move to soft goods, or at least softer plastic and didn't have it molded all the way around. So what I'm going to do later at the end of the video, I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife and slice along the wraps here and try to give him a little more room. I might do that at the end of the review. I might do that on my own time. I'm not sure yet. We will see. But let's go ahead and get into articulation. Stephen Strange here does come packed with some pretty good articulation. The head is especially, even from the previous version of Doctor Strange, we do have an upgrade. They did the Star Wars The Black Series route, where there is a ball joint at the bottom of the neck as well. So, Stephen Strange can look up this far. He can look down this far, which is very nice. As you can see, that neck is moving down in there. So you can looking down pretty good. So if you've got him in flight poses, very nice. He can always look down on the battlefield. You do get your nice tilt for both sides there. And of course, he's got his swivel. And if you do want to swap the heads, this head just pops right off, and it's the same peg size as the previous head sculpt. So if you wanted to swap those, you can. For arms, his arms go up to 90 degrees. They are on a swivel, but because the top of the tunic here is sculpted in a hard plastic, you kind of have to push it out there and then come around, so that is a hindrance. You can only bring it up forward so far. You do have a nice bicep swivel. We have pinless joints on this figure with double jointed elbows. That can go in past 90. All of his sets of hands can rotate and are on a horizontal hinge. But what's nice is his forearms are sculpted in a softer plastic, so they do get up out of the way when you're bending the hands back. Now, here comes another one of my gripes. If you guys remember back when Captain America Civil War came out, that Winter Soldier figure that we got that had the terrible case of shelving when you did the ab crunch, Stephen Strange has some really nice ab crunch, but what the hell is this? That's really ugly and very disappointing. I know Hasbro can do better, and seeing that we've gone back to this in 2022, after getting face printing and magic hands that have paint on them and individual sculpts and getting sculpting on the back of his hands, why is it when you articulate the figure's torso, he's got a shelf where his back should be? That's just not acceptable, and Hasbro needs to get on that, because this is ridiculous. I understand wanting to push a figure out in time to get the movie out. Movie's coming out in May. it's beginning of March right now, and I know of people who've gotten this figure early February. You had time to fix this, but you didn't do it. So now we're sitting here with this. He can crunch back, very nice too. But when your crunch is ugly as hell like this, what's the point? Even doing that straight on, what are you going to do with this? For people who take pictures and, you know, pose their action figures in different ways, this is unusable. The range is fantastic, but if you can't make it look good, what are you doing? And I know damn well they can do it. They've done it before. So to see them going backwards on an action figure like this is just really frustrating, and I don't get it. He does have a waist swivel that rotates all the way around, and his belt seems to like to come with that, so it's not glued. The belt is a free-floating piece, but it just seems to like to stick with the upper torso on that swivel instead, so that follows all the way around. Again, like I said, his legs are traffic cones, so that's as far up as you're going to be able to get it. That's as far back as you're going to be able to get it. Side kicking, you know, that's laughable. Even thinking about that is just a joke. He does have a thigh rotation with pinless double jointed knees, which, if there was no skirt piece there to hinder it, would go back fairly well. There is no boot rotation, even though there is a perfect space to do one. I guess it's too close to the joint, so that makes sense. It's whatever. You do get really nice, if you look in here, the hinge piece for the actual ankle articulation is sculpted to be with the boot, and that does give you very nice articulation. You can go all the way down and very far forward as well. So, you know, if he could move his legs, that'd be handy. And he also does, I'm knocking over comparisons over here, I'm sorry for that, guys. And he does have ankle pivot, as all Marvel Legends should. Cough, cough, Build-A-Figure Thanos from 2019. But there's that Stephen Strange, and it's super disappointing because that's actually a very nice looking costume in my opinion. I think that's one of his better looking costumes that we've seen in the MCU so far. But here we are. Let me go ahead and adjust the camera angle here for you. It's kind of late at night, so I'm not doing this with a lot of finesse. As I mentioned, we do get the same magic effect hands that we had gotten with the previous No Way Home Wave Spider-Man. And we do also get a set of magic casting hands here. So that's nice to finally get something different besides just the Thor grabbing hands and then the invisible cup holding hands. He's also packaged with 2 more sets of individual hands. So he has the hand that I like to call the sling ring casting hand when he's doing, you know, the portals. And he also comes with a fist for, I guess, just relaxing or clenching his fist or so have you. And his final accessory is the Cloak of Levitation. And here's another point of just, what the hell are they doing? I get not wanting to reuse the same cape over and over and over again, but when it just sits there and it looks that bad, why bother? It just sits on here. It doesn't stay at all. There's no peg. There's no peg hole. It just sits loosely on the shoulders. Doesn't even look like it fits. It doesn't sit on there properly. It just hovers there like the useless piece of clamshell garbage that it is. So, the sculpt is cool enough, I guess. It looks like it's trying to flow out. I know in the trailer we saw that there's like a blue patch on the back of this now, so I'm not exactly sure what that's about yet, because the movie's not out yet. But, you know, this is a softish rubber, so I guess I'll try to heat it up and see if I can get it to fit on there better. I might use some sticky tack or something. But as of right now, this is basically garbage that they throw into the package to make you pay more for it. I know people have been using the previous Cloak of Levitation from the No Way Home Wave. The only issue with that being, as I mentioned, there's no peg or peg hole. So when this cloak has a peg, it would sit on here better. But you'd have to snip the peg to do it. So I think I've seen people doing that where they've just snipped the peg off and used that for this. You know what? I'm going to go get some sticky tack. I'll be right back. Alright, so sticky tack didn't do anything for the cape either. This thing is just a pile of crap. I will let you guys know if I figure out any other method to do anything with that. Probably not. My best bet is most likely going to be snipping the peg off of this and trying to see how that fits on there. Maybe apply some sticky tack with that. But then at the same time, I don't want to neglect this Doctor Strange from having his Cloak of Levitation. I've been looking here and there at a couple of custom options off of Instagram for people who tailor Cloaks of Levitation for Doctor Strange figures like this. They have movie versions. At the same time, those are more expensive than this figure is, or even more expensive than this figure is worth, but we'll get into that here in a minute. I shouldn't have to go to a third-party tailor to get, a $35 to a $45 specifically tailored Cloak of Levitation just to make a Doctor Strange figure look good. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to do that. I know Hasbro can do better, and that's just not acceptable. But getting into some comparisons here before I kill my own excitement for this movie, let's go ahead and get Steven with a couple of magic users here. Getting him in there with Sylvie and with the TVA Loki. So you can see Loki's a little bit taller than he is, but he is about a good half a head taller than Sylvie is there. So about a good medium range height. Getting these two out of here. Of course, we do have the rumors of the Fox X-Men coming into play, and we are all pretty certain that Patrick Stewart made his appearance for the Illuminati in the trailer. So we will get him next to some mainstay X-Men here with Wolverine and Deadpool. And both of these figures stand a little bit taller than he is. I think Deadpool's actually roughly the same height there, but Hugh Jackman's Wolverine's definitely a good half a head taller than he is. But that'll be pretty cool to see if Multiverse of Madness is, in fact, the movie that brings the Fox X-Men over to the MCU. We already know that Deadpool's there because of that trailer with Korg, and we know that Deadpool 3 is in production. And thankfully, Disney seemed to be keeping that at an R rating, which they should. That's what the fans want. That's how the movies work. Let's keep that going there. Let's get these two out of here. Here he is with Spider-Man in his integrated suit from Spider-Man No Way Home, with the Marvel Legends version as well as the SH Figure Arts version, because they stand at the same height. Those are looking pretty good. I actually think that the SH Figure Arts version beats out the look with the Marvel Legends as opposed to that figure, although even on this one they didn't give us webs or wall-crawling hands, but hell, just a demonstration of, look, you can have a deep crunch without it looking like ass. Getting him out of here. Let's go ahead and get him with Wanda, since she is making a very prominent appearance in this next movie. And we will also get him with the previous Doctor Strange from No Way Home, which, flat out right now, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to get a Doctor Strange, get that one. This one looks cool, but get that one. That one's better. You still get the magic effect hands. You get a better painted Eye of Agamotto with actual detail on it. You get a cloak that fits and you don't have to mess with. He still has decent articulation. He's still pinless. Has good paint. Just get this one. Getting Wanda out of here. Final thoughts. Pretty disappointing. A lot of unexcusable moves on Hasbro's part there. If you still desperately want to get this guy, because let's be fair here, the costume does look good. I am a fan of the costume. That's why I picked it up in the first place. I thought this was a very nice looking figure in the packaging. The extra hands are nice, I guess, but not worth the price tag. If you find them on clearance for like $10 maybe, then I'd pick them up if you really want them. But he's probably going to take some modding to get it how you want. I know I'm going to have to mod mine to get mine how I want it. Maybe down the line I'll do an update video, say, and like a subscriber thank you, how I like to sit down and talk and do some customization and all that kind of thing. Maybe I'll show what I do to this guy, but at the moment, at the $25 price tag, don't buy it. We need to show Hasbro that we will not buy things like this. This will not slide. So if you can find them for $15 maybe, I'd say wait until it drops down to like $10, $12, and then you want to pick it up. That's probably your best price point. Sorry to end on a salty note here, guys, but I'm keeping it real, and as cool as this figure looks in like a neutral stance, you can't use his cape. His articulation is hindered all to hell. The articulation that he does have looks ugly. There's not even detail painted on the Eye of Agamotto, which is in the center of his chest. Just, at $25, don't buy it. I regret spending that much money, but here we are. He's in my collection. I'll do some tweaks, see if I can't make it to where I like him a little bit better. I'm still excited to see the movie. I'm not sure if I will pick up any other figures of the wave. I know there's some decent figures in there. I know Mordo's supposed to be nice. I've heard America Chavez is a little bit hindered, but she's, you know, on that standard female buck that we've been getting for a while. I've heard Wong is actually really, really good, so I might try to pick him up at least because he's a new character. We'll see. Just for now, kind of put a sour taste in my mouth, not gonna lie. But you know how it is. Keep it real, everybody. Stay safe. Happy collecting. This channel and all of its content is not for anybody under the ages of 13 years old. YouTube guidelines never change. Stay safe, everybody.